You talked about, this is kind of the start of the toughest period of your career. You had 8 or 9 surgeries within a year. You only played 7 games in 18 months. Um, After that World Cup and then leading into the 2012 Super season with the Highlanders again, how did you, I guess, mentally pick yourself up and build that resilience that you have today? How did you kind of go, right? I'm coming back here. Were there things in particular that you did? Were there people you talked to? What was some of the things you did mentally throughout that time to pick yourself back up?
Yeah, I mean, I took a mindset of like I just got to prove people wrong, or I've got to, um, you know, rebuild my own reputation, I guess, and go down there and play well. And I was really disappointed my first year in the Highlanders with injuries and stuff, which ultimately aren't in your control. But you want to go down there and create a good impression and justify, you know, Jamie Joseph selecting me in the team. So I wanted to play really well, and that was probably my immediate goal, was just to get back on the field and play well. And I think I was probably at an age there where like I was down, but like I definitely didn't have the tools, I guess, mentally to be able to create a plan and see people or anything like that. So it was just for me, it was at that time just to get back on the horse and try again and get yourself healthy and go back to something that I suppose worked before, a couple of years before. But yeah, and then obviously when I got back on the field again at the Highlanders in that year, I broke my leg again, and I think that was. And that was the worst injury at the worst time, because like I said, I was trying to rebuild and trying to do all that, and then you get a significant injury, man, where you can't walk for 3 or 4 months, and you literally have to train yourself to walk properly again, as opposed to limping or anything, and then sitting out a whole season, a whole year, not just the Super Rugby season, but I guess things couldn't probably get lower at that stage.
Mm.
For me, and I know there was a lot of chat out there at the time, and probably don't remember it, but as a person in the middle of it, you definitely remember about the retirement thing. I was only 24 at the time, maybe
Mm.
25, I can't remember now, and it wasn't really an option. And I even had a referee contact me and said, "Oh, if you're interested in being a referee, if rugby's not your gig," and I'm like, "What are you, mental, man? Like, I'm 25. I had a couple of injuries and like all the rest of it, but I mean, the retirement thing never sat with me. I didn't consider it for 1 minute. Like, it was a couple of injuries, and I sort of knew that. I mean, other guys come back from injuries all the time. It's just the fact that mine have been all sort of collated into one sort of 18-month period that just sucked. And um, anyone that sort of suggested that retirement thing was probably more of a reflection of what they would do in my situation. But for me, man, I was just like, nah. I love being a rugby player. I love everything that comes with it. Well, not everything. No one likes everything, but
Mm.
all the positives, I suppose, that come with it. That feeling and that playing and all in front of people, and how people, how proud you feel and all that sort of stuff. Like, so I knew that I wanted to stick with rugby, and I didn't want to leave on a bad note. So I just got back into it, man, and just. Worked hard and worked really, really hard, and had to rebuild my faith in my own game, and then everyone else's faith, I guess, that I believed that I had the ability and had to get that, and that was my motivation, I guess. And I suppose that's one thing I did is important. You frame your why, and it's something I didn't know that I was doing at the time, but you construct a meaning behind what you're doing. So, and mine was that sort of. There's a word I'm looking for and I've just forgotten it, but sort of that comeback sort of mentality, and the proving the people wrong, and that's what motivated me. So it was probably an early indication of what was going to help me out later in life, and that's like I said, creating a why. It's something
Mm.
I do to this day. It might be even in France and I'm playing some random team, but I'll make a reason. I'll make a reason why, and I still do that. Like I said, to this day, and I'll just make it up, and it gives you a little bit of motivation that it's not just a normal game or a normal process, that you need to, something to push you a little bit further. So, I just wanted to prove people wrong, and get back to playing my best rugby after the injuries. I mean, looking back at it now, it obviously worked out well, and I definitely played my best rugby post that period. But, it helped me get through it. Sorry, I keep
Mm.
talking, man. I
No,
forgot to say, I
no.
just keep talking.
I love it.
bad habit.
I love it, man. It's awesome. There's some really good stuff in that as well, and I love that concept of creating a why. I'm the same. I was probably similar age in terms of that 24, 25, and I didn't quite know why I played. You just kind of eventually 3 or 4 years into a professional career, and you know you have a few setbacks, and you go, okay, well, hold on, why am I playing? But it's similar to that Last Dance. Documentary of Michael Jordan, and I'm going to compare you to Michael Jordan right now. It's probably the first
Yeah,
time ever.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
he just found motivations, you know, for every game and every time it didn't matter if it was a regular season game, a playoff. There was something that he found motivation to get him through that game and to try and always perform at his best. And there's a couple other things I kind of want to go into, but you talked about proving people wrong. Um, what was it like to try and deal with media and people talking and did you actually hear this, or was this more stories that you created in yourself, or what you thought people were saying?
No, I mean you definitely hear it and stuff like that. And if you ever want to feel bad about yourself, you go to the stuff comments or something like that on the newspaper articles. That's a great way to just really kick you when you're down. So I made the mistake when you're young, and as you do, man, like you sort of sneak on there, and it's like, oh, I should retire, I should do this, nah, too injury prone, all that sort of stuff. So it was definitely there. But I think, in the same token, I think you always make a. I mean, that's just some bloke sitting down on his armchair, bloody writing away, keyboard warrior style. Like he doesn't probably give it a thought past that. But I think as a player, everything's a bigger deal in your own head. And that's something again that I learned. Like what was just an off comment from some random bloke, is nothing more than that. And it's I think that you sort of can make a bigger deal of it as yourself. And ultimately, I don't think people really care what you do, whether you retire or not. But it's just their 2 cents in that brief moment. And like it. Yeah, I think you'd think it's a big deal, but it's negative comments like that don't really hold much weight with me anymore. I suppose I've got that ability to have perspective that the people that write those comments aren't worth the time of day, I guess.
Mm. Mm. Eh, Just